Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Janine, for that wonderful introduction. It's truly a great pleasure to be here with you as part of the Ascend Fall Conference. The theme of Innovate to Differentiate very well describes what I set to do when I founded my own firm 14 years ago. I should begin by saying that I didn't start off in the executive recruiting business. I was born and raised in Montreal, and as Janine mentioned, I studied at McGill University, where I obtained both a philosophy degree and a couple of law degrees. And while I was at law school, I met an important mentor who became a good friend to this day. His name is Erwin Kotler. He's a professor, or he was a professor at McGill. He's a renowned human rights champion who represented a number of political prisoners over the years, including Nelson Mandela in South Africa and Natan Sharansky in the former Soviet Union. And Professor Kotler went on to become Canada's Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Among his many accomplishments, Professor Kotler was the first man to join the Women's Caucus in Parliament, and he appointed 2 women to the Supreme Court of Canada, making Canada's Supreme Court the most gender representative in the world. That inspired me. I'm now on his organization, which is called the board of his organization, which is called the Raoul Wallenberg for Human Rights, where, among other things, we are representing the Nelson Mandelas of today in places like Venezuela and China and Saudi Arabia. So human rights and equal rights for all is an important part of my life. But to rewind back to graduation from law school, I headed west on the 401 to Toronto, where I articled and became a member of the bar. And soon after, I stumbled into the fascinating world of high-end talent acquisition with a leading boutique firm. That firm was acquired by Korn Ferry. So suddenly I was a partner at the world's largest high-end recruiting firm. It was a great experience for a young guy like me. And I learned a great deal from both the boutique and big firm experiences. Korn Ferry certainly provided me with an opportunity to see how a large-sized firm operates, and gave me great insight into the challenges and opportunities provided by big firms. In that sense, it is truly a pleasure to be sharing the stage at this panel with Boyan, who's currently at Korn Ferry. It's a bit of a homecoming. However, when I founded my firm in 2004, I knew I had to innovate if I was to differentiate myself. So I assembled a team of former big firm search partners who were motivated to come together to offer a highly personalized boutique service to our clients. And we've been fortunate. The vision has been realized. We work at the executive leadership and board level for the largest companies in the world in places like Dubai, Brazil, Hong Kong, India, the UK, and all across North America. We also help mid-market clients with their leadership needs, including through private equity firms who are invested in them. And lastly, I'm personally on the board of advisors or directors of close to 40 emerging technology companies, mostly in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, LA, New York, and here in Toronto. And the advisory work I do for these companies extends beyond talent management and into overall strategy, business development, and fundraising. Having our fingers on the pulse of frontier technologies allows us to be uniquely effective as well for our largest multinational corporate clients, who are all looking for guidance in areas such as digital, virtual, and augmented reality, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. This guidance translates into real-world results when it comes to recommending the right leaders to our clients. It can bridge the gap between legacy technology systems and the future of technology. From the beginning, we championed diversity and advancement for those who were underrepresented in corporate executive suites and boardrooms. 12 years ago, I began the Rosenzweig report on women at top levels of the corporate world. And it's an annual study which has become a benchmarking tool in terms of charting the progress of women to the C-suite. I've also endeavored to attract partners and advisors who reflect the changing face of North America, including individuals like Larry Chan, Aliza Lakhani, and NBA Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo. But why this emphasis on diversity and inclusion? Well, part of the answer reflects the Canada of today. The last census I read should have been a wake-up call for anyone still stuck in the paradigm that this is a nation comprised mostly of white Europeans. Today there are 1.6 million South Asians in Canada, including individuals from India, Pakistan, and countries like Vietnam and Thailand. There are about 1.5 million individuals of Chinese heritage, including those from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and of course mainland China. There are also 1 million Filipinos, and smaller but significant number of Japanese and Korean Canadians. If these groups have one thing in common, they have high expectations for themselves and especially for their children. They strive in terms of education. They are typically entrepreneurial. By any measure, the Pan-Asian population is and will be an important source of talent in this country. And anyone who ignores this does so really at their own risk. The other part of the answer for a firm that recruits globally is that talent today knows no boundaries. We are honored to have Roy Gori with us tonight, the incoming CEO of Manulife, who was born in Australia. TD's CEO, Bharat Masrani, was born in Uganda, went to the United States as a refugee, and eventually assumed the reins at Canada's second largest bank. Canadians Mark Carney and Moya Green and Dominic Barton are today all in London, running respectively the Bank of England, the Royal Mail, and McKinsey & Company. Any way you look at it, we're in a global economy with almost limitless opportunity for talented individuals. As I noted at the outset, the theme of innovate to differentiate could not be more appropriate at this time. We often think of innovation in terms of technology or design, which it is. But I would also urge ambitious young people to think of innovation on a more personal level. To one extent or another, we all have a brand, the way we are seen in the eyes of others, and most importantly, how we see ourselves. And when it comes to assessing talent, there is often little that separates candidates, at least on paper. You need to find a way to stand out, to have that little wedge of an edge that can put you at the top of a list. You need to find something that differentiates you, and perhaps have the courage to take a little bit of risk. So I am challenging those in the audience who are looking to take that next step in their career, to take control of your brand, to innovate on a personal level, and find a way to differentiate yourself from the crowd. So go ahead, climb into that arena, get noticed, and stand out. Thank you for your attention.